The meaning of the movie author Orpheus for reading 5 minutes published on 26.10. 2019 updated on 26.10. 2019 The movie is filled with deep meaning, which everyone is free to understand in his own way. The narrative begins about an Indian boy who is looking for himself. The boy grows up in a family with a kind and devout mother who reads to him about Hinduism and a pragmatic father. The family has its own zoo. The hero has an unusual name, given to him by his uncle, Bazin Molita Patel. To avoid ridicule, he has to prove his place in society from childhood. And since the boy is not simple, he does so. He shortens his name to simply P. The boy recognizes different religions. He is a Hindu, a Christian and a Muslim at the same time. He finds something different in each faith and, in his childish way, he is not ashamed of it. He prays before eating like a Christian, does namaz like a Muslim, and doesn't eat meat like a Hindu. Once he runs into a Christian temple for a drink of water, he meets the priest and cannot understand how God could sacrifice his son to atone for the sins of men. Why should an innocent man die for the sins of others? One of the significant scenes in the boy's life was when he tried to feed a tiger from his hand, Richard Parker. He looks into the eyes of the beast and it seems to him that the tiger understands everything and will not touch him. Just in time, the boy's father shows up. The father explains to him that in the tiger's eyes he saw only a reflection of his soul. To prove that the tiger is a predator, his father feeds Richard Parker a live goat. The boy realizes that the world is not as beautiful as he thought it was. And there is a hierarchy in which to be afraid. The boy grows up, makes music and falls in love. But his father decides to leave India and move to Canada with his family. They sail on a Japanese dry cargo ship, which, after a storm, is wrecked. The boy tries to save his family to no avail. He finds himself in a boat with a zebra with a broken leg, a hyena, a chimpanzee and a Bengal tiger. The very same Richard Parker. The zebra and the chimpanzee are not dangerous, but the hyena and the tiger are predators. The boy remembers this well. One day on their voyage, a hungry hyena attacks and kills the zebra and then the chimpanzee. When the hyena tries to attack the boy, the tiger kills her too. 2 people remain in the boat, a human and a predator. Who is stronger? How can they exist together? The boy tries to tame the tiger and set boundaries for their shared life on the boat. Pi realizes that a hungry animal is a dangerous beast. He fishes and gathers fresh water for the 2 of them. Maybe if it wasn't for the tiger and his care for him, the boy would have given up and died by now. One day, their boat is washed up on the shore of a strange island. A floating island of life and death, giving fresh water and food in the morning, and at night, as a result of some chemical reaction, taking life. The boy and the tiger, having stocked up on supplies, leave the island. And here was the long-awaited Earth. They find themselves on the shores of Mexico. The moment they are finally rescued, the tiger goes into the jungle. One of the iconic scenes. The tiger leaves without saying goodbye, without even turning around. They've been through so much together. Pi risked his life every day for the tiger, feeding and feeding him. P was hurt and resentful. But he left without even turning around, just like a man who has been helped by God forgets about him once his life gets better. The guy, yes exactly a guy, not a boy, is taken to the hospital. He tells the story to the insurance company. The insurers don't believe him and ask him to tell a more credible story. So he tells it. Tells how he ended up in a boat with a nasty cook, a sailor with a broken leg, and his mother. The cook killed the sailor and his mother, and he killed the cook. They like this story better. Since people killing each other is more real in our world than the coexistence of a boy and a tiger in the same boat. So what happened to Pi? Perhaps he was alone in the boat and struggling with his vices. After all, in Indian philosophy, zebra means submission, hyena means cowardice, and tiger means fear. He fights them one-on-one, as every human being does all his life. In all his suffering, Pi never once blames God for what happened. He tries to learn some lessons from it and thanks God that he is alive. Perhaps the so-called journey of the tiger and the boy shows the existence of God and man throughout life. No matter how ungrateful and indifferent man, in our case the tiger, is to God, God still loves him and tries to help him. And, when the person is doing well and no longer needs God's help, the person leaves. He walks away without even turning around. Even though it compares Pi to God, for the boy it was survival and self-discovery that led him to human happiness. Apart from philosophy, the movie is filled with beautiful shots. We experience all the characters' feelings as our own. The movie, Life of Pi, is an attempt to mark the place of man in the world, to show what humanity is. In the novel, the author took the liberty of breaking down all the boundaries that separate people. Moreover, he destroyed the boundaries between man and nature, uniting them into a single whole. Admin